Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This was my favourite book I read this year. Stephen King really has a way of building story and atmosphere, and from the first chapter you already sense the dread of what's to come. This follows the Creed family as they start a new life in Ludlow, Maine, and the secret burial ground nearby, rumoured to resurrect the dead. I love the themes of grief and how death is inevitable, which is a bit morbid, I know, but I love the transition of our main character Lewis, sort of looking at death through his medical lens and how it's a natural and inevitable part of life. And then when he's personally affected by death, all that medical knowledge goes out the window and he acts completely on pure grief and emotion. But a part of you can somewhat relate to his sort of rash and insane decisions, because you can't help ask yourself, if you could bring someone back, would you? The story also has some of King's sort of classic paranormal horror tropes, which really add to the creepiness and dread of it all. I can't believe this book actually made me kind of creeped out by an undead cat. It has a really unique take of something being undead. The description of the resurrected just really gets your mind going. They're not exactly mindless zombies, but they're not like vampires either. This is kind of a oxymoron, but they're almost living dead. The way they're described as smelling of damp soil, it's almost like you can smell it as you're reading. You can just imagine the smell of a grave following them around. It's fantastic. There's something about this book where you feel the presence of death hanging over everything. The book does allude to there being an evil force from the burial ground, and you could read the book as something more literal. In a similar way, you could read The Shining and just view it as a haunted hotel story. But I think what makes this stand out from something like The Shining is that death is something we all will experience, from losing someone close to us or until we eventually die ourselves. I think that's what makes this book so brilliant and makes it so creepy and bleak, but almost fascinating at the same time. Yeah, I really love this one. I go back and forth on Stephen King sometimes. I feel he can be a bit maybe melodramatic, and he has a tendency to sometimes over-explain things. And I'm not saying this book doesn't have a bit of that, but when he mixes it all together, he proves why he's a master of writing. And I'm looking forward to another Stephen King book at some point.